I stood in the empty community hall, staring at the 20 untouched chairs I had arranged in a perfect circle. 26 years old, and this was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be the year my family finally saw me. We're not coming to celebrate someone who's still a failure at your age. Those were my mother's exact words when I called to confirm. Not, we're busy, not, we can't make it, just that, failure. The word echoed in my head as I adjusted the homemade banner for the third time. I had sent the invitations 3 weeks ago. Physical cards, not just texts. I wrote personal messages on each one. My parents, my 2 older brothers, my sister, my aunts and uncles, even my cousins who I barely knew. 20 invitations total. I paid for catering. I rented this hall with money I had been saving for months from my waitressing job. Why are you even bothering? My sister had texted back. Nobody wants to pretend you're special. The caterer arrived right on time. She looked around the empty room and gave me that pitiful smile I had seen too many times in my life. Should I wait a bit longer? No, I whispered. Start setting up. I checked my phone again. Maybe someone was just running late. Maybe my dad would surprise me. He used to call me his little sunshine when I was 7. Before I dropped out of college. Before I disappointed everyone by choosing art school instead of medical school. Before I became the family embarrassment. The cake sat in the center of the main table. Vanilla with strawberries. My favorite since childhood. I had specifically requested it. The candles were already in place. 26 of them. I wondered if I would blow them out alone. Your brothers aren't coming either? The caterer asked gently while arranging the sandwiches. No, they said they had better things to do. Better things than their sister's birthday. My phone buzzed. For a moment, my heart jumped. But it was just a notification from social media. My mother had posted a photo of her having brunch with my sister. 30 minutes ago. They were together. They just chose not to be here, with me. I felt something break inside my chest. Not dramatically, just quietly. Like a crack in glass that nobody notices until it's too late. Then I heard the door open. I turned around expecting maybe the janitor or someone who got the wrong address. Instead, I saw an older man in his late 50s, wearing a casual blazer and a warm smile. Behind him were 3 other people carrying boxes. Is this the birthday celebration for Miss Emma Rodriguez? He asked. I froze. Nobody had RSVP'd. Nobody even acknowledged my invitation except to decline. Yes, that's me. But I think you have the wrong party. No, we have exactly the right place. He walked toward me and extended his hand. I'm Richard Bennett. I'm the mayor of this town, and we heard you were celebrating alone today. My brain couldn't process what was happening. The mayor here? I don't understand. How did you— Your invitation, he said, pulling a familiar cream-colored card from his jacket pocket. You dropped it at the post office 2 weeks ago. I was mailing something and saw it fall from your bag. It had your return address, and when I read the message inside, well, it touched me deeply. I had written something personal on each card. On the one he found, I must have written one of my honest ones. The ones where I poured my heart out about hoping this year would be different. About wanting to feel loved. About believing family meant showing up. You came because of a dropped invitation? My voice cracked. I came because nobody should celebrate their birthday alone. Especially not someone who clearly put so much love into planning this. He gestured to the decorations, the food, the careful details everywhere. The 3 people behind him started unpacking the boxes. Flowers, balloons, a professionally wrapped gift. One woman, maybe in her 40s, smiled at me. I'm Patricia, the mayor's assistant. We brought some friends. Friends? I repeated. The door opened again. And again. And again. People started filing in. The librarian from downtown who always recommended me books. The old man who owned the corner bakery where I bought bread every Sunday. The teenage girl I had tutored in art for free last summer. The firefighter whose daughter I had helped with a school project. Within 15 minutes, the hall that had been empty was suddenly full of people. How many people did you invite? I asked the mayor, tears streaming down my face. He smiled. I made some calls. Told people about a young woman who deserved to be celebrated. Turns out, Emma, you've touched more lives in this town than you realize. But even as strangers filled the room with warmth, I couldn't stop thinking about the 20 empty chairs, the 20 family members who knew exactly where I was and chose to be anywhere else. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother. Stop being so dramatic. It's just a birthday. The party was in full swing when my phone started exploding with messages. Not happy birthday wishes. Angry accusations. How dare you embarrass this family by inviting strangers to replace us? My mother texted. My brother sent a screenshot of the local news page. Someone had posted about the mayor attending a special birthday celebration for a young community member. The photo showed me smiling next to Mayor Bennett, surrounded by all these kind people who had showed up. You're making us look like terrible people, my sister wrote. Delete this immediately. I stared at the messages while the bakery owner, Mr. Chen, sang happy birthday in Mandarin. Patricia had organized everyone. They were all singing now, in this beautiful mix of languages and voices. People I barely knew celebrating me more genuinely than my own blood ever had. Everything okay, dear? Mrs. Patterson, the librarian, touched my shoulder gently. My family is upset that I'm having a party without them. The irony wasn't lost on me. They didn't want to come, but their angry other people did. That sounds like their problem, not yours, she said firmly. Another text arrived. This time from my father. Your mother is very hurt by your behavior. You need to apologize and come home right now. I laughed. Actually laughed. A bitter, broken sound. I need to apologize for having a birthday party they refused to attend. The mayor noticed my distress and walked over. Family trouble? They've seen the news coverage. They're angry I'm celebrating with strangers instead of sitting home alone like they expected. His expression darkened. Let me guess. They didn't want to come, but they also didn't want anyone else to make you feel special? Exactly. I showed him the messages. His jaw tightened as he read them. Emma, I've been mayor for 12 years. I've seen a lot of family dynamics. What I'm seeing here isn't love. It's control. He handed my phone back. Real family shows up. Or, at the very least, they're happy when others do. The door slammed open so hard it hit the wall. My mother stood in the doorway, my father and both brothers behind her. My sister was recording on her phone. They had come after all. Not to celebrate. To confront. What is the meaning of this circus? My mother demanded, her voice cutting through the music. Every conversation stopped. The music cut off mid-song. 50 pairs of eyes turned to watch my mother standing in the doorway like an avenging angel. Except there was nothing righteous about her anger. Mom, you said you weren't coming. I said we weren't coming to celebrate your pathetic attempt at relevance, she interrupted, stepping fully into the hall. Her heels clicked against the floor like gunshots. I didn't say you could humiliate this family by parading yourself around town like some charity case. My father stood behind her, arms crossed, saying nothing. He never did. My brothers flanked them like bodyguards, and my sister kept that phone camera pointed directly at me. Mrs. Rodriguez, I presume? Mayor Bennett stepped forward, positioning himself slightly in front of me. I'm Richard Bennett, the mayor of... I know who you are, my mother snapped. And I know you're using my daughter for some publicity stunt. Good Samaritan mayor helps poor lonely girl? Is that the story you're selling? Patricia gasped audibly. Mr. Chen put down his plate. The teenage girl I had tutored, Sophia, looked absolutely shocked. That's not what this is, I said, my voice shaking. These people came because they wanted to? Nobody wants to celebrate you, Emma. They want to feel good about themselves. My mother's words were surgical, designed to cut deep. The mayor wants good press. These people want to feel like heroes. But nobody actually cares about you. My older brother Derek smirked. Look at this setup. Did you really spend your rent money on this? Mom's right. You're pathetic. I saved for months, I started. For what? So strangers could pity you? My sister Vanessa moved closer, still recording. This is going straight to our family group chat. Everyone needs to see what you've become. Mayor Bennett's voice boomed across the hall. That's enough. The authority in his tone made even my mother pause. He stepped fully in front of me now, and Patricia moved to my other side. Mr. Chen stood up. Mrs. Patterson crossed her arms. Sophia came and took my hand. One by one, every person in that hall positioned themselves around me. "You need to leave," the mayor said coldly. "This is a private celebration and you weren't invited." My mother laughed, sharp and cruel. "She invited us. We have the ridiculous cards to prove it." "And you declined," Patricia added firmly. "Which means you're now trespassing." My father finally spoke, his voice tired. "Emma, just come home. Stop this nonsense. You're making things worse for yourself." I felt something shift inside me. Maybe it was the warmth of Sophia's hand in mine. Maybe it was seeing all these people, these supposed strangers, standing between me and my own family like a human shield. Maybe I was just tired of being small. "No," I said quietly. "What did you say?" My mother's eyes narrowed dangerously. "I said no," louder this time. "I'm not coming home. I'm not apologizing. I'm staying at my own birthday party." My brother Derek laughed mockingly. "Your birthday party? Look around, Emma. These aren't your friends. They're props in whatever delusion you're living." "They're more real than anything you've ever given me," I shot back. The room felt smaller suddenly, suffocating. My mother took 3 steps forward, and Mayor Bennett matched her, step for step, maintaining the distance between us. "You've always been ungrateful," she hissed. "We fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. And this is how you repay us? By making us look like monsters on social media? I didn't make you look like anything. I just had a birthday party." "A birthday party you're too old for," Vanessa shouted, finally lowering her phone. "You're 26, Emma. Grow up. Stop expecting the world to celebrate your mediocre existence." Mrs. Patterson stepped forward then, her voice sharp as glass. "I've been a librarian in this town for 30 years. I've watched Emma come in every single Tuesday after her shift at the restaurant. She reads to children for free. She helps seniors with computers. She painted a mural at the community center without asking for a single dollar. She tutored my daughter without charging us anything," Sophia's mother added from the back. "I hadn't even known she was here. When we couldn't afford art supplies, Emma bought them herself." Mr. Chen raised his hand. "She helped my wife when she had a stroke last year. Visited every day. Brought food. Translated documents we couldn't read." One by one, every person in that hall shared a story about something I had done for them. I had forgotten half of these moments. They were just things you do for people, normal kindness, nothing special. But my family stood there frozen as the list grew longer and longer, and I watched my mother's face transform from anger to something else, something that looked almost like confusion. "You never told us you did any of this," my father said quietly. "You never asked about my life," I whispered. The silence that followed was deafening. My father's words hung in the air like an accusation he didn't mean to make against himself. "We didn't ask because there was nothing to ask about," my mother recovered quickly, her voice defensive now instead of angry. "You dropped out of medical school. You work as a waitress. You live in a studio apartment. What exactly were we supposed to be proud of? Maybe the fact that she's a good person?" Patricia said sharply. "Maybe that matters more than a degree or a job title?" My brother Derek scoffed. "Easy to say when you're not the one who wasted $100,000 on 2 years of medical school just to quit." "I didn't quit. I changed paths. There's a difference." My voice was steadier now. "I was miserable. I was failing. I switched to art because it was the only thing that made me want to live." That last part slipped out before I could stop it. The room went deadly quiet. My mother's face paled slightly. "Don't be dramatic." "I'm not being dramatic, Mom. I'm being honest." "For once!" I pulled my hand from Sophia's and stepped forward, past the protective circle of people who actually cared about me. I had panic attacks every single day in medical school. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I called you crying and you told me to stop being weak. "Because you needed to toughen up," she insisted. "I needed help." My voice cracked. I needed my mother to ask if I was okay, but you only cared about how my failure reflected on you." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Here we go? The victim story again?" "Put the phone away, Vanessa," a voice said from the doorway. We all turned. A young man in a police uniform stood there, his expression serious. Officer Martinez. He had been 3 years ahead of me in high school. "This is a private matter," my father said. "Actually, sir, I received a call about a disturbance. Someone said there was harassment happening at this event." Officer Martinez looked directly at my sister. "And I'm going to need you to stop recording. You don't have consent from everyone in this room. I can record whatever I want. Not in a private venue without permission, you can't." He stepped inside. "I can either take that phone as evidence, or you can delete the footage and leave peacefully." My mother's composure finally cracked. "Evidence? Evidence of what? We're her family." "Family doesn't give you the right to verbally abuse someone in public," Mayor Bennett said quietly. Officer Martinez pulled out a small notebook. "I've actually been documenting complaints about your family for 3 years now." Everyone stared at him, including me. "What complaints?" I whispered. Officer Martinez flipped through his notebook, and I saw pages filled with handwriting. "Noise complaints from your parents' house. Neighbors reported screaming matches, things being thrown. Your name came up frequently, Emma." My stomach dropped. "I don't understand." "Mrs. Chen called us twice when she saw you leaving your parents' house crying," he continued. "Mr. Patterson filed a report when he witnessed your brother push you in the grocery store parking lot. Sophia's mom reported your sister following you and harassing you at work." "That's absolutely ridiculous," my mother sputtered. "These people are lying." 6 different witnesses over 3 years? Officer Martinez raised an eyebrow. "I don't think so." Derek's face flushed red. "That parking lot thing was an accident. She was being overdramatic." "I have the security footage," Martinez interrupted. "You shoved her hard enough that she fell and hit her car. She had a bruise on her shoulder for 2 weeks." I remembered that day. I had told myself it was an accident too, that Derek was just frustrated, that I had been in his way. "Why didn't you ever follow up on these reports?" Patricia asked the officer. "Because Emma never pressed charges. Every time I tried to talk to her, she defended them." He looked at me sadly. "She always said it was just a misunderstanding, that her family loved her, that she was the problem." My mother's voice turned icy. "Because she is the problem." "No, Mrs. Rodriguez, you are." Mayor Bennett pulled out his own phone. "While you've been here making a scene, my office received 43 emails. People sharing their experiences with your family. How you've badmouthed Emma all over town. How you've told people she's unstable, unreliable, a disappointment." My father shifted uncomfortably. "We were just being honest about our concerns." "You were sabotaging your own daughter," Mr. Chen said firmly. "Last month, Emma applied for a teaching position at the Art Center. She was the top candidate, until someone called the director and said Emma had severe mental health issues and couldn't be trusted with children." The room spun. "I never knew why I didn't get that job." "Because your mother made that call," Martinez said. The director recognized her voice. She documented it. Vanessa's phone slipped from her hand. My mother's face went white, then red, then white again. I was protecting those children. Emma is not stable enough to... "I have a signed statement from Dr. Helen Morrison, the director of the Art Center," Mayor Bennett interrupted, pulling a document from his jacket. "She's willing to testify that you called her pretending to be a former employer. You claimed Emma had been fired for erratic behavior." "All lies." "That's defamation," Patricia added. "Legally actionable defamation." My legs felt weak. I grabbed the edge of a nearby table. All this time I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I kept failing because of my own inadequacy. But they had been sabotaging me. "Why?" The word came out broken. "Why would you do that?" My mother's mask finally slipped completely. What I saw underneath was something cold and bitter. "Because you embarrassed us. You quit medical school. You chose art. RT. Do you know what our friends said? What your aunts and uncles whispered? So you decided to ruin my life. We decided to make sure you understood consequences. my father said, and his voice had that edge it always got when he justified their cruelty as life lessons. Derek stepped forward. You made your choices, Emma. We just made sure you couldn't pretend they were successful ones. Officer Martinez cleared his throat. Mr. Rodriguez, you just admitted to a coordinated harassment campaign in front of 50 witnesses and a police officer. The color drained from Derek's face. I didn't mean. Too late. Mayor Bennett's voice was steel. Officer Martinez, I want to add something to your report. Last week, my office received an anonymous tip that Emma Rodriguez was embezzling from the restaurant where she works. The tip came from an email account we've now traced back to Vanessa Rodriguez's IP address. My sister stumbled backward. That's impossible. She stopped, realizing what she'd just admitted. My manager had called me in last week. Questioned me for 3 hours. Checked all the receipts and camera footage. I'd been terrified I'd lose my job over something I didn't do. They found nothing because there was nothing to find, but the humiliation had been crushing. You tried to get me fired, I whispered. Vanessa lifted her chin defiantly. You deserved it, Mrs. Patterson gasped. Sophia was crying. Mr. Chen looked absolutely disgusted. Mayor Bennett stepped forward, and something in his expression had changed. This wasn't just compassion anymore. This was calculated purpose. Here's what's going to happen, he said, his voice measured and deliberate. Officer Martinez is going to file a formal report documenting everything said here tonight. The harassment, the sabotage, the defamation, the false criminal allegations. You can't do this, my father said weakly. I absolutely can, and I will. The mayor turned to me. Emma, I need to tell you something. That invitation I found at the post office, it wasn't an accident. My heart stopped. What? Your mother threw it in the trash outside. I saw her do it. I retrieved it and read what you'd written inside. He paused. You wrote that you hoped this birthday would be the year your family finally saw you as someone worth celebrating. That you'd spent your whole life trying to earn their love. I couldn't breathe. That was the most vulnerable card, the one I'd almost not sent. I'm a mandatory reporter, Emma. When I see someone being systematically destroyed by their own family, I have an obligation to act. He pulled out another document. This is a restraining order application, pre-filled. It requires 3 witnesses to sign. I've already signed as witness 1. I'll sign, Mrs. Patterson said immediately. Me too, Mr. Chen added. Officer Martinez nodded. That makes 4. More than enough. My mother laughed, shrill and desperate. A restraining order? Against her own family? No judge will grant that. Judge Morrison will, Mayor Bennett said calmly. She's Dr. Helen Morrison's sister, the art center director your daughter tried to destroy. She's been waiting for Emma to take action for months. The walls were closing in on them, and they finally realized it. Vanessa grabbed my mother's arm. Mom, we need to leave. Now. Not yet. Patricia stepped forward holding a tablet. Emma, 3 months ago you created a beautiful mural downtown, the one with the children and the sunrise. Do you remember? I nodded, confused by the change in subject. The city council voted last week. We're commissioning you for 6 more murals across town, $40,000 total. The contract was supposed to be sent to you tomorrow. She looked at my family. But someone hacked Emma's email and deleted it. Derek's face said everything. We have the IP logs, Patricia continued. Same address as the embezzlement email. My mother's voice turned desperate. Emma, please. We're your family. You can't do this to us. We raised you. We love you. No, I said quietly. You controlled me. There's a difference. Mayor Bennett handed me the restraining order application and a pen. My hand shook as I held it. This was permanent. This was real. This would mean cutting them out completely. You don't have to decide right now, he said gently. But I did. Because for the first time in 26 years, I finally understood something crucial. I had spent my entire life trying to become someone they could love. But they didn't want to love me. They wanted to break me. I signed the document. My mother let out a sound I'd never heard before, somewhere between a gasp and a sob. "You'll regret this. You'll come crawling back and we won't be there." "Good," I whispered. Officer Martinez took the paperwork. "Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, Derek, Vanessa, you need to leave immediately. As of this moment, you're required to maintain a distance of at least 500 feet from Emma." They left. Finally. The door closing. Behind them felt like the end of a war I didn't know I'd been fighting. The hall erupted. People hugged me. Someone started the music again. Sophia brought me cake. Mrs. Patterson wiped my tears with a napkin that said, "Happy Birthday," in glittery letters. Mayor Bennett pulled me aside quietly. "That job contract? It's real. $40,000. Your art matters, Emma. You matter." I looked around the room. At these strangers who became family in a single evening. At the mayor who saw me thrown away like trash and decided I was worth saving. At the community that had been protecting me without my knowledge. "Thank you," I managed to say. He smiled. "Happy birthday, Emma. This is your first day of freedom. Make it count." I blew out 26 candles surrounded by people who chose me. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was finally enough. The cake was perfect. The company was perfect. And my family's empty chairs? I'd fill them with people who actually knew how to love.